President Tinubu signs amended student loan bill into law. Chief of Defense Staff tells suspected killers of officers and soldiers in Okwama community of Delta State to surrender. And later on the show, Super Falcons host South Africa in Abuja on Friday, the first leg of the final qualifying playoff for the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. Well, TVC News sports correspondent Jane Francis Uweze will join us from Abuja for the discussion on sports. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Journalist Hangout.
Good afternoon to our viewers.
Right. Journalist Hangout starts now. Thank you very much for staying with us. It is said that every day is for the thief, but one day is for the owner and law enforcement agencies. After countless abuse and mutilation of the Naira at event centers and parties, the day of reckoning has come for crossdresser Idris Okuneye, otherwise known as Bobrisky. Operatives of the Lagos Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, have arrested and commenced the investigation of Bobrisky for allegedly spraying Naira notes. The EFCC invited the 31-year-old following a video report of spraying and flaunting words of new Naira notes at the premiere of a movie at Jakaju in Lekki, Lagos on the 24th of March. Following the invitation by the EFCC, he arrived at the Lagos Zonal Command of the Commission on Wednesday, the 4th of April, for interrogation. EFCC said Bobrisky will soon be charged to court upon conclusion of investigation. And let's share the story by TVC News Theophilus Elama with you.
Surprise might not be appropriate enough to describe the news that the self-acclaimed Mummy of Lagos was arrested by men of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Idris Okuneye was arraigned by the anti-graft agency for mutilating ones of new Naira notes at the premiere of a movie in Lagos. According to the provision of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, it is punishable by fines, imprisonment, or both for any person caught spraying off, dancing, or matching on a Naira or any note issued by the bank during social occasions or otherwise. This act was enforced when a Nigerian actress, Oluwadarasimi Omosheyin, was convicted and sentenced to 6-month imprisonment for spraying and stepping on the new Naira notes at a social event in Lagos. According to an investigation by the Commission, Bobrisky had also committed the alleged offense at some other event centers and parties at different times. The social media has been agog with pictures and memes as the arrest took over the space. On the EFCC Instagram handle, the story has garnered the most comments as many asked lots of questions about crossdresser's arrest. The commissioner said he will soon be charged to court when investigations are concluded. With this development, many are waiting with bated breath to see what becomes of this case.
Gentlemen, looks like the EFCC is now serious about restoring the dignity of our currency. Thank you.
Yes, there is a promo that is currently being aired on TV stations, on major programs, journalists Hangout, your view, on the need to stop disgracing our currency the way these people are doing. Nobody disgraces the dollar like that. They will step on it, they will dance on it, they will throw it around like confetti. I don't know, apart from Nigerians, I don't know any other people
looks like
that disgraces their currency in the way we do. They don't disrespect other currencies like that. And you'll be stepping on it, just move. And you go to banks, they will give you dirty notes. But there are people who simply sell new notes. That has to be banned as well. And they should make examples of people selling these new notes that you and I cannot lay our hands on. Even if you've been a customer of a bank for 30 years, you ask for new notes, they will not give you, but some people find a way to get it. And people like Bobrisky or Bob Reckless or whatever he calls himself, would be spraying our money. There was a man who got a son who was elevated to sonship level the other day, to see what they did to Naira notes. And I said, look at this lawyer and his friends. It has to stop. When we begin to jail, there should not even be an option of fine. Let them go to jail. That's the way people will learn. You can see the actress that they showed us earlier, the one that was convicted, see how sober she was. That was even boasting then that if you don't have new notes, I have.
Yes.
So what Bob Reckless has been doing for so long, the law has finally caught up with her. I'm not bothered about what she wears and all that. She's probably telling God that, look, you are wrong to have created me a woman. I mean a man. And she desperately wants to be a woman. And there's nothing she can do to turn herself to a woman. There is no art by which you can suddenly develop the genitalia of a woman. You are not going to succeed at that.
He claims to have done some surgeries.
They should show us. He should show us his genitalia. Let's confirm. Let's confirm whether he has the genitalia of a woman, because I'm confident that that technology has not come by which a surgeon will suddenly bless you with the genitalia of a man. And all of the things that she's doing, just putting herself and her family name to shame. If people cannot stop her, because there is no law, according to the police, that bans cross-dressing. But I'm happy in Kano now, there is a law against it. But at least respect our laws. And our laws do not permit disgracing our currency the way they are doing, stepping on it, dancing on it, and doing all sorts of nonsense. So people have such videos. They are spreading such videos. That way they are challenging the law enforcement agencies. That, are you going to say you are blind to some of these things that these guys are doing? Now they've got hold of her. She boasts that she knows people. She even told Portable that I'm going to lock you up, nobody will see you. As if even the IG has no power to lock someone up and say nobody will see that person. Are you the IG? Be all our service chiefs, all our security agents, you have them in your pocket. I mean, absolute rubbish going on.
Dawson, how did you react to that report?
Well, it's a good one. And like Vicky said, the social media has been flooded with videos of people who have engaged in the same act. And I think it's good for us that this is happening. And it also helps us to begin to ask the necessary questions, one of which is, how do these people get hold of these new Naira notes that we don't even have? Well, there was a time we suffered so much in this country because we wanted to change currency to ensure a few things, including replacing the old ones with new ones. While we can't find the new ones in the bank, some people have them. And it's what we saw on TV. But I'm happy the EFCC has started. Number one, for me, they must go after everybody from now on.
That's it.
Yes.
Don't let it be like you have a special interest in Bobrisky. Everyone who does it now. I've seen a couple of videos. Perhaps we can let that go in the past, put them in the past. But going forward, we should ask questions. Number two, those who sell new notes, we need to begin to ask them where they get them from. Let's trace it back to where it came from. A lady was jailed, but given an option of fine in Ibadan some weeks back because she was caught at a party with bundles of new Naira notes, up to about 300,000. And when they went into her house, they found about another 300,000. So I think questions should have been asked at that point. Where did you get it? Because we need to know those who are selling them to these people so that we can begin to get, So many things we can, but those two are quite important. Nobody should be allowed to go free from now on.
Just like you said, we hope this doesn't end with Bobrisky. We hope this punishments, this prosecution spreads across. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's move on. Now let's talk about politics and the coming governorship battle in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria. Following Wednesday's deadline for the sales of expression of interest and nomination forms, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC raised 720 million naira from 16 governorship aspirants jostling for the party's ticket for the April 20 primary election. Dr. Bike, let me start with you. This is a lot of money.
It is. This is during the electoral season, political parties make a lot of money. And during this period too, the level of transparency of the political parties also comes into play. APC made tens of billions of naira from selling the expression of interest and nomination forms of the presidential, governorship, or the elections. And you can see that shortly after the elections, the leadership of the party came on firing line. In fact, a member of the ESCO, of the NWC, was the one who raised the alarm that they can't account for a good chunk of that money. Today in the Labour Party, Barrister Julius Abure is being accused of corruption and mismanagement of the sum of 3.5 billion that they made from the sale of forms. And he's also been accused of selling the Labour Party governorship, expression of interest and nomination forms for 50 million. Now, that's a party that was said to have been formed so that the ordinary Nigerian worker should be able to contest elective positions. But if you are selling nomination form for governorship election at the rate of 50 million, how much will you sell the presidential election form? How much will you sell senatorial forms for senatorial aspirants? So these monies will come, but again, for me, the parties have monetized politics, and it's a lot of money. It makes no sense to be doing this. In fact, it's like, look at what happened in the last election. Even the PDP, who actually institutionalized this idea of getting people to pay so much, the asking price for their presidential nomination form was even lower than that of the APC, which means that the APC did not just learn from the PDP, but they exceeded the APC, the PDP, in terms of the monetization of our politics. And I don't see it as something that should continue. There should be other criteria, other guidelines by which you can actually assess contestants and validate contestants for elections without using money to stop people from contesting. Democracy should be an all-comers affair as long as the people meet the set criteria. And you can use academic qualifications, experience, and all that to determine who and who is qualified to contest. But these days, it's money that we use to determine who should contest. Because there's no way that you will not stop some people from contesting when you raise the bar in terms of the money that they have to pay. Some people will not be able to afford it, not because they are not good enough, or not because they are not even better than some of the people contesting, but because the money they can't afford that money. And it's not everyone who will be lucky like Buhari that he came and people helped him to pay for his
forms.
His form. Even that one is not a particularly good idea because it can be used to blackmail a president. Because a president that you helped him to buy his form will now feel that he's indebted to you and that he has to give you contracts and all that you can use to recoup what you spent on him. Honestly, I think that something should be done about the rate at which we try to make money from contestants.
All right, so Dr. While you react to that, the National Working Committee of the APC has settled for a direct mode of primary.
Well, it's good. Whichever the party settles for, the most important thing is transparency. Let everybody who wants to contest get this sense of a fair contest from the party. Let it not be that you have chosen a particular kind of mode for your primaries simply because you want to favor the other person. And that's one of the good things about abandoning the initial, the prior mode, where virtually everybody who is an appointed aide is a delegate. Far better. Because, like we said, in the 2023 elections, if that had happened, perhaps President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would not have been in the office. Because there are too many aides around that people can use, even against their own principles. So, and number two is that it gives room for those who are the real owners of the party from the grassroots, the ward level up, to show face to elect who they want. Nobody is saying it is foolproof.
Okay.
But it is far better than where a governor who has about 2,000, 3,000 aides brings them to the primaries. Far better. The president who has 700 aides, who include ministers, all the appointees of the ministers, all of them will flood. So it's quite better than what we've had in the past.
All right, BKO, April 20 is the day for the primary election. If you look at the 16 aspirants justing for this ticket, do you think this is a walkover for the governor?
There's no such thing as a walkover in a contest like this.
Oh.
He has to work hard to earn victory. And there are some people who are experienced, who have always contested, and who have a big support base.
Yeah.
You know? So if we have such people in the contest, different tendencies, the people who are very close to the former governor, people who served in that cabinet, who had signified their intention a long time ago, you can't have such people in the contest and expect that it's going to be a walkover. It's not going to be a walkover. The governor will have to work hard if he wants to win.
Very hard.
And I'm sure he knows that it won't be a walkover. No, it doesn't look like a walkover at all.
All right, gentlemen. It appears there is no longer legal encumbrances for the commencement of student loan in Nigeria. On Wednesday, President Bola Tinubu signed the National Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act, Bill 2024, into law at a short ceremony at the State House in Abuja, witnessed by the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and other top government officials. President Tinubu said no Nigerian will be excluded from obtaining quality education. Before we discuss this, let's share the story by TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde with you.
President Bola Tinubu signs the much-anticipated student loan bill. This is a fulfillment of a promise made in his renewed hope agenda. This will also bring Nigeria closer to achieving Goal 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that seeks to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. President Bola Tinubu had on the 14th of March written to the National Assembly to repeal and reenact the student loan bill. His desire was given quick consideration and approval. Now the buck stops on the table of the President Tinubu-led executive arm of government to begin the implementation of this policy.
We are determined to ensure education is given the proper attention necessary for the country, including skill development programs.
This new law signed by President Tinubu will establish a corporate body to receive, manage and invest funds to provide loans to Nigerians for higher education, vocational training and skills acquisition, and for related matters.
Those who are seeking skills, who are seeking to be skilled, to be empowered, to move on with their lives. So it's a very great day for the country.
Nigerian students that I represent, we are happy. We see Mr. President's commitment to the development of education. And today, the entire education system is happy.
There's a growing support for this new law resonating across the country, especially among youth who are the sole beneficiaries, as the student loan scheme will build an army of skilled workforce that can easily become self-employed and increase the country's productive base.
It's actually a welcome development, and when you look at the impact, especially to the Nigerian students, who are going to be the greatest beneficiary of this initiative.
Rightly shape the educational institution and the educational sector.
The federal government initially announced that the scheme would be launched in September last year, but this suffered several delays, leading to an indefinite postponement. The presidency said the delay was because of a directive from President Tinubu to expand the scheme to include loans for vocational skills. It is expected that this new law will significantly increase access to tertiary education and skills acquisition. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Now what thing they do my pikin?
Now fever where your pikin gets. And as they had them to swallow something, now because of tetanus infection, for this wound we should get so. Tetanus now serious.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
I actually came to pay the money for the recruitment consultancy you did for my company.
Beautiful.
I think 2 million.
Just hold on. I now collect dollars.
What?
Yes. I don't understand what's happening to Naira these days. So it's going to be 2 million times today's exchange rate.
Doctor, wait. Doctor, wait. Don't tell me you are one of those people who directly put pressure on the Naira and make it lose its value. You want to dollarize our economy, and yet you pretend as if you don't know what is happening to the Naira. I've told you about how you abuse the Naira by spraying and stamping on it during your occasions. You deface and abuse the Naira as if it's not our national asset.
How take it easy?
How? I will not take it easy. And neither will the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Task Force on Currency Abuse and Forex Malpractice take it easy with you. They are coming for you. Desist from economic sabotage, or you will face the wrath of the law.
Thank you very much for staying with us, and welcome back to Journalist Hangout. Gentlemen, before we went on that break, we saw a story about the president's student loan. And it appears that this is finally happening. One of the presidents promised to revitalize education in Nigeria. Doctor?
Well, it's a good one. Even before the president signed the amended bill into law on Wednesday, I've read a few things that I also think that we need to start correcting this impression among Nigerians. On the social media, I saw people who went there and said only 5 billion naira was budgeted for the loan for 1 year. I think what the 5 billion is supposed to do is like a seed money. You begin with this. As you exhaust it, certainly more provisions will be made. Then number two.
No, even the National Assembly increased it by itself to 50 billion.
To 50.
So what they are saying is not correct.
Very incorrect. Sorry, I forgot to mention.
National Assembly
50 billion.
Has the power of appropriation.
Yeah.
They moved it to 50 billion.
And unlike some government...
From the money meant for the yacht.
Yes, that was what
people should also not forget that it wasn't President Tinubu that asked for a luxury yacht. It was already demanded for in the previous administration.
Yeah.
And they said that it is for carrying high caliber guests of the president to let them see the waterways and all that. But in the end, they said the National Assembly went against it, and the money meant for it was put into student loan. Some of these things you read about, you just know that it's mischief. And there is a lot of ignorance peddling on social media. People who don't read to understand. Yeah. They say a lot of things. People who are perceptive, who have been following this student loan thing, know that it is 50 billion. But they are still talking about, oh, he gave 50 billion, yet he gave a subsidy for Hajj for 90 billion. One person starts something. People will not go and check whether that person is saying the truth. They will just continue to magnify it. It's a tragedy.
Because even the one for the Hajj was not a gift. It wasn't a gift. It wasn't as if I'm sponsoring you people to Hajj. You take this money, 90 billion. That's not what happened with it. And then number two, thanks BKO for the quick reminder, is the fact that some people went and added the whole number of students in Nigeria and divided the 5 billion by them. And then you begin to wonder, is it every student who wants this loan? It's not every student. So the parents who can send their children to private schools obviously won't need this kind of loan.
They don't.
Obviously. Even most of those.
Students in private universities, for example. I learned they've been asking for it, just the same way that private institutions are asking for, what is it called, TED fund.
TED fund, yeah. TED fund. Private universities are asking for it.
How do you do that? You have the funds already. If you are paying, like some of the very expensive ones, like Baba Febawala's University, for example, why would a student whose parents can pay 2 million?
Even 7.5 million for medicine. 8 million, 9 million for medicine, pharmacy. How will a parent like that say, I want you to give me a loan? It's almost impossible, you know. And then you now come to think of it. If everybody is not taking that loan, there are safeguards that have been made in the... A student cannot just wake up on his own, except he goes to, get another father and mother to get that loan. Because we know some students who are mischievous. They will even spend their own school fees if given to them. They will spend their fees. So those students can go there to say, okay, I'm poor, give me this loan. But they can't get it because there are safeguards in it. And people should truly understand that. And then the fact that the loan is not meant to be paid immediately you receive it. It's even a good one for Nigeria. It's a good one. Because
when you start work.
When you start work, and you would even, it's not as if it's immediate. You would have worked for about 2 years.
After youth service.
After youth service. So I think we should see some good in the country.
If you have not found a job, you constantly inform the board.
Yes, even after 2 years.
Found a job. So I just like the fact that the president didn't pass the earlier bill. It was sent back because there were issues that they wanted to address. The bill in that original form was not complete. There were issues, governance issues, sustainability issues that have now been addressed. You look at even the eligibility criteria, method of application, repayment provisions, recovery of loans, which is important for this scheme to succeed. The ability to recover loans is very important. They've now used, in the reenactment bill, they've addressed those issues, the governance and management issues, for example. Now, the Act separates the governance function from the management operations of NEL Fund by establishing the board of directors with a chairman and secretary. And that board shall have representatives from universities, from polytechnics, from colleges of education, from students of tertiary institutions, the organized private sector, and some agencies under the ministry, Federal Ministry of Education, like MBTE, the rest of them. So, and the management team shall also be led by managing director, including executive directors, who will be responsible for the day-to-day running of the scheme. And the president shall be the one who appoints the board of management, and the board of in terms of the funding, it will come from 1% of all taxes and levies and duties collected by the FIRS. Because I've been asking, how are we going to find the money to keep this going? These are things that have been sorted out in the second bill. And of course, the matter of guarantor, that as an eligibility requirement has been removed. So once as a student you fulfilled the eligibility criteria, you don't need a guarantor. You are free to access the loan once you've met the stipulations, the conditions that have been set. You don't need a guarantor. I'm very happy. What that means is that even the children of the poorest, as long as they've met the terms, they can access the loan. So it's a good thing, and for me, it's a happy day, because I read on social media that, it's an audio student loan, this and that. And you see, because some of us are extremely enamored by negativity. It is negativity that titillates many of us. So there are some people that like to go to their walls because they know that person represents negativity. They want to go to his wall on Facebook so that they can ventilate. They can ventilate the negativity in them. The negativity in them. And I see, there is an audio loan. It will not happen. The same way they are saying that this refinery in Port Harcourt will never start work. As long as the Lord lives, that refinery will start work because we need it to work. Whether it is a marginal reduction that it will cost to happen on petrol prices, let that refinery work. This student loan, the president has signed it into law now. So we are ready for the takeoff. Those who think that it will never happen, before their eyes, even if they shut their eyes, they will still get the realization that this student loan thing will happen. If President Tinubu can do this student loan, it will be one of the major achievements of his administration. People still talk gloriously about Awolowo today. Because Awolowo came with the idea of free education. And if not for free education, many of the people today that you see, many of our leaders today, they wouldn't have gone to school. They wouldn't have gone to school if not for free education. So this one, I remember this famous lawyer, Awomolo, saying, that this student loan thing, that when he was growing up, he benefited from it. And he was praying that it should happen this time. Many years down the line, people who benefit from this scheme will be grateful to the people who came up with the idea, the Gbajabiamilans of this world, and the president who has made it happen. So we can't wait for it to kick off so that poor people, because it also, the loan is not simply for school fees. It is also for the upkeep. Part of the money will also be for the upkeep of the student while in school. It's not simply, we give you this money for you to pay school fees and levies. No, your general upkeep. Which means that you can pay, you can feed yourself in it, you can buy clothes. General upkeep. Buy textbooks, the things that you need. So it's a very significant development, and I'm waiting for it to kick off so that.
Doctor, another interesting adjustment to this loan is the removal of parental loan history disqualification, which a lot of persons are happy about.
Yeah, which is good. In Nigeria now, I'm not sure that there is any family you go into that you won't have somebody who is servicing a loan. Especially parents, it's difficult surviving. And in reality, it's one of the reasons I'm very happy that money is not going into the hand of either the students or the parents. It's going to the source where it's going to be utilized, which is the school. If this money will go into those hands, a lot of it would have
diverted.
Would have been, in fact,
the same way they diverted the was the CBN
Anchor Boys.
Many of them formed fake cooperatives just to access the money. They got the money, they used it for politics.
So it's something that makes me happy, because a lot of Nigerians are under pressure. So anywhere loans can, that's why a lot of people fall victim of these loan sharks. So easy to do, because when you're under pressure, you can take money from even the devil. As much as we detest him in this part of the world, we can take money from there. So it's a good one that these things have been properly sorted out. You know, I was happy when I learned that bill was sent back. Even after the signing, I was happy, because those gaps needed.
It shows the president listens.
Yeah, it shows those gaps. If those loopholes, if they were not blocked, would have been in trouble with that loan. Because people just have
not survived.
And then the other part of it for me is, we keep praying that, like other things that were good, for instance, the Uncle's Borrower program that we mentioned now, it's a good concept, but people went in and used it, rubbished it, and used it for the wrong reasons. I pray that we don't have people already waiting to ensure this doesn't work.
We can't stop people.
You know?
We have to create the buffers that will ensure that they cannot hurt
do anything about it.
But that some people will not know.
They are always waiting.
They are thinking,
thinking negatively. Negatively.
So their own is, let us see how this thing will. In fact, if they are not careful, some people want to hack into their funds.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that the law also talks about a diversified pool for funding.
Yeah.
So it's not, they are not going to look at just one area as a means of sourcing funds. The law mandates the NEL fund to look at a diversified pool of funding. So I'm confident that steps have been taken to bridge the gaps that were inherent in the earlier bill, and to guarantee the sustainability of of this student loan scheme.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on to the final lap of our discussion for today. When the Super Falcons of Nigeria and the Banyana of South Africa clashed in Abuja on Friday, it's not just the 2024 Olympic Games tickets that will be at stake, but national pride and bragging rights. 9-time African champions Nigeria and reigning African champions South Africa will clash in an explosive 2024 Women's Olympic Football Tournament African final qualifying first leg game at the MKO Abiola National Stadium in Abuja on Friday. The return leg is billed for Tuesday at the Loftus Versfield Arena in Pretoria. The Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, through the General Secretary, Mohammed Sanusi, has urged Nigerians to troop out in large numbers to support the Super Falcons on Friday.
Football team, the Super Falcons, held their morning training session at the Federal Capital Territory on Wednesday in a plot to have staged their South Africa counterpart, Banyana, in the final round of the Africa Olympics qualifiers. However, the team could not make it for their evening session due to visa processing issues. Head coach of the team, Randy Waldron, trained with 21 players in the morning, firming up fitness and perfecting tactics. Training will continue tomorrow alongside the official pre-match press conference. Falcons played a barren draw against Cameroon in Douala before nipping a 1-0 win in the return leg to set up this meeting with South Africa. 9-time Women Africa Cup of Nations champions Nigeria won South Africa in the 2018 WAFCON final in Ghana to pick their last title, while Banyana won Super Falcons in the opening group game of the 2022 WAFCON en route their first continental title. The first leg of the Olympics qualifier will kick off on Friday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, by 5 p.m. The stadium management is also getting ready the stands for the fans. South African delegation arrived in Nigeria on Sunday and has been training at a private facility in Abuja. Nigeria has not participated in the Women's Olympics football tournament since 2008, when the Super Falcons lost all 3 matches in the group phase in China. Jane Francis Mweze, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, gentlemen, before we go to Jane Francis in Abuja, Bikeo, it's tomorrow.
Yes, you can see we need our fans to storm the stadium in good numbers to provide the much needed support for the Falcons. The gates have been flung open, it's free. So we have no reason to not populate that stadium and turn ourselves to an extra player against this the South African female team. That team has been consistent lately. They look like the best in Africa currently. Nigeria has always dominated the women's football, but things are changing. Countries like Cameroon and South Africa, they are giving us problems. South Africa came to Lagos here to beat us 2-0 the other day, and they did very well at the World Cup, coming out of the group stage. So it's going to be a tough match. I just pray that our guests will live up to their billing and play with the same zest, the same vim that we played during the last tournament, the World Cup, when we lost to England on penalties. So I hope that we will do our best and take a hefty advantage to South Africa. If we can win by a fairly wide margin, then the job will have been done.
All right, that's all.
I also expect us to win by a good margin because just like the male national team, others are catching up with us in the female category. So we really, really need to get it going tomorrow. that's important for us.
All right. Now let's speak with TVC News sports correspondent Jane Francis. Good afternoon to you, Jane Francis. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon.
Right, so you've been following the Super Falcons. What's the mood like in the team ahead of the clash on Friday?
Well, they are very desperate to win this fixture and qualify. It's been 16 years that the Falcons are away from the Olympics. The last time we were there was in 2008 in China, and that speaks volume, about how desperate they are. A lot of generations have come and they didn't make it. The likes of Desire Paranozie, when not didn't go to the Olympics. The likes of Hosna Chiohale would pass out from this set and not go if we don't go this time around. So I think the only person in the recent generation that was in the 2008 Olympics is Tochukwu Oluwehi. So she's the only person they have to make reference and, question or find out what it feels like to play in the Olympics, because they played in the Women AFCON and also the World Cup. So it's one tournament that the Falcons really, really want to be in.
So how will you assess the chances of both teams?
Well, it's a very tough chance. South Africa have not just caught up with us, but, I can also say that they've gone maybe a few steps better than catching up with us in about 4 games in a space of 3 years. Yes, they have actually won us 3, and we've just gotten 1 victory. They won us down here in Nigeria in the Aisha Buhari Cup. They won us in Ghana in one of the WAFCON games before we beat them with penalties in the finals. And they also won us in the first group game in the 2022 Women AFCON in Morocco. So that's to tell you that they're not a team we come into a match very confident that, we're going to win them. But one thing I think would work for the Nigerian team is the fact that they are a bit too confident, about this Nigerian team. They feel like they know us so well. But we've had quite a few changes even since the 2023 World Cup of some players that they don't know. Yes, they would have watched, our qualifiers up to this point, playing against Cameroon and Tanzania. But real match situation is always going to be, different. So we're hoping for that moment of magic that could happen for us to get more than a goal win down here at home. Because yes, they're talking about weather in South Africa, but also we would have to be tactically better, string the passes together, get the goals before even we start being concerned about the South African weather. So I think we need more than a goal win back here in Nigeria, and that would be a very difficult one against Desiree Ellis's team here in Abuja.
Now, what I know the NFF has been trying to get Nigerians to pack the stadium. From the mood in Abuja, do you see people filling up that stadium, especially because it's the women that are playing? Are we going to get the kind of crowd that can really lift the spirits of our girls?
Well, for starters, I think that, in terms of publicity, I don't think the Nigerian Football Federation have done enough. There's no banner outside the stadium saying that the Super Falcons will be playing here tomorrow. Rather, there have been e-flyers on various social media platforms. And yes, I would accept, I got my first flyer of a match that will be happening in Abuja from someone in Lagos. So how much do the people, the kind of people that they would want to actually attend this match, how much are they aware of this match? One good thing they have done for this fixture is the fact that it starts at 5 p.m. At least a lot of people would have finished from work and may be able to come into the stadium, because normally it's 4 p.m. and it's very difficult to have fans in the stadium. And we're hoping that with more push and more announcements and adverts and talk on this game, we're going to have more fans, more than we can count. Because in recent times, the fans that we see in the Super Falcons games are few numbers that you can even count. So we want to see maybe half-filled stadium tomorrow supporting the Super Falcons.
All right, so I understand Ashley Plumter won't be playing tomorrow. Is this really a big blow?
Well, not so much of a big deal. We started the qualifiers. We played a couple of games. Even the women AFCON qualifier and the Olympic qualifier without her because she was injured. So it's going to be very easy for us to tinker around the defense with also some new players that are coming in, like Chidinma Okeke, although she hasn't played in the team since the 2019 World Cup. But yes, I think we can improvise full plumpter.
What about the supporters club? Are we getting serious backing? Are there signs that they are there? And then now also, are you not worried that this female team at that level is not, we don't have new faces coming in? We've always had the same kind of faces and the legs appear to be tired.
We have new faces coming into the team currently, and nobody changes. You can't change an entire team that went to the World Cup for new ones. We have, more than 12 new faces in this team that haven't been part of it, especially from a build-up to the 2023 World Cup up to this point. I think even the South Africans that we're playing, that we're very scared of, haven't done that much of a change. You can bring in maybe 2-3 players at a time, at a given time, and I think that's what Coach Randy has tried to do in the period that he has been with the team. Yes, we have a couple of players from abroad coming into the team. These are things we're not used to, because usually we build the Super Falcons from players who play in the league, and from the league, or rather from playing for the Super Falcons, they begin to travel abroad. But now we're bringing in players that are born and raised abroad to play for the Super Falcons. But we're still managing to bring in players who play in the league, like the likes of Demain. She's a very new player also. Deborah Budun, that went to the World Cup, is quite new, very young, less than 20 also. So yes, the team is getting refreshed as it should be.
All right, thank you so much, Jim Francis. Thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. We wish the girls best of luck tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. All right, gentlemen, there you have it. Your final takes.
Yeah, I just hope, because, football contests between Nigeria and Ghana, between Nigeria and Cameroon, between Nigeria and South Africa now are contests that you've got to take very seriously, because national pride is at stake. These were countries that could not stand up to us some years back, But today, those countries are catching up with us the same way that some countries caught up with us in the short sprints in athletics. So we have to up our game. And these girls must realize that they are fighting for their country. They must give their best. They must defeat South Africa, so that they don't go around saying, oh, they have avenged their loss during the AFCON. So we hope our guests
is what we'll be looking forward to.
Yes, that's what they want to do. We hope our guests will not let us down. We hope they'll do a good job tomorrow, and we hope our fans will turn out in good numbers. It's very important to cheer the guests all the way to victory.
Well, I stay with BKO, and believe we are good to go.
Who's going?
So I stay with BKO. I think tomorrow we should ensure we have a good outing, so that when we go to South Africa, because they are going to intimidate us there, no doubt. It's always the start. They come here, they get it easy, because we don't have a culture of intimidating people. But we go there, they intimidate us. So it's good that we consolidate from home and know that whatever the outcome out there, we are good to go.
And I hear that none of the girls had been to the Olympics except the goalkeeper. So I hope this is enough drive for them to deliver tomorrow. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. But before we go, let's take time to say happy birthday to our own citizen Jones Hussein, who is 74 today. We join family members and numerous admirers to wish him more years in sound health. BKO.
Yes, Jones does not look 74.
At all.
He has the heart of a little boy. He still cracks jokes. He doesn't throw his age at you. He's very free with everyone, and he's probably among the last breed of proper broadcasters, because proper broadcasters are born, you know, not made. I wish him Godspeed, as he always says, as he moves on with his life.
That's all.
Well, I was shocked when I saw it on paper that he's 74. I used to think he's about 60, 60-something.
You're an old man.
But now, let me tell him that I now know why he avoids taking tea with us here. Because he's always talking about the content that can slow him down.
Happy birthday to you, sir. We love you so much. Thank you so much, Ben. That's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeats broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Now what thing they do my pikin?
Now fever where your pikin gets. And as they had them to swallow something, now because of tetanus infection, for this wound where she gets so. Tetanus now serious disease.
See my Fatima now. Not just 14 years old. This pain too much for her.
But to all this wahala for no happen, it is say she take her tetanus vaccine.
He don't collect all her injection that time when she be small pikin.
Pikin and big people them suppose collect booster doses too. Booster, they help maintain your immunity against all this yama disease, where feed they serious or even threaten life, then they give long protect for immunity.
They don't tell me, but I know here. Now, I go follow Uno road.
Pikins and big people them supposed to collect vaccine for diseases like tetanus, hepatitis, COVID, polio, measles, and other nyama disease them for continue protect. Visit any health center to sabi the kind vaccine when you supposed take for your age. Make you call 7722 for more information.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Today, there are many complex, boring, expensive, and useless exercise machines in the market. Or you pay over 400,000 Naira a year for gym membership and never go. ShopX TV is proud to introduce Total Crunch Evolution, the compact, versatile fitness solution that is perfect for you. With Total Crunch, you get a complete fitness workout in one machine. Say goodbye to ineffective and complicated exercise machines. Now, you have the power to transform your fitness journey and get the body you have always wanted right in the comfort of your own home. Total Crunch is the efficient and effective way to build muscle, tone and tighten your legs, shape your back and pectorals, while strengthening your core and defining your abs. Now that's totally effective to get the body you want. With Total Crunch, your whole body works out at the same time. Only Total Crunch can put your whole body in motion as you burn calories and lose weight. Just one fitness routine a week will achieve serious results in 4 weeks.
Total Crunch Evolution has enhanced the way I work out and the results I achieve. It's not just a fitness equipment, it's a life changer. This versatile, time-saving machine is perfect for anyone looking to lose weight or stay in shape. Trust me, this is a game changer you've been waiting for.
With my busy schedule, finding time to work out and stay in shape has always been a challenge until I discovered the Total Crunch Evolution. It's a lifesaver.
Traditional exercise equipment is large, complex, takes up so much space in your home, and you could be paying up to 400,000 Naira for annual gym fees. Get the Total Crunch Evolution, the 2-in-1 fitness solution to save the cost and transform your body from the convenience of your home. Similar equipment costs 300,000 Naira, but you can get the Total Crunch Evolution for not 300,000 Naira, not even 200,000 Naira. Order right now and get your Total Crunch Evolution for just 179,950 Naira only. And that's not all. You can get our Total Crunch Evolution in 2 easy payments of 89,975 Naira. That's right. pay twice to get your Total Crunch. And remember, if you order now, you get the Total Crunch Evolution delivered to you for free anywhere you are in Nigeria. And it comes with a ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. Call the number on your screen now or scan the code to place your order now. But hurry, limited stock available. The proceeding is a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Hello everyone, you are watching Beyond 100 Days with Abosede Adeniran. You can join the conversation now on X using the hashtag Beyond 100 Days and remember to tag at TVC News NG. The third Mainland Bridge has been reopened after comprehensive repair works with lane markings and new street lights. At exactly 12:35 p.m., the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, Olukorede Kesha, and Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiyemi, reopened the third Mainland Bridge after months of extensive repairs on the upper deck sections. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, who was absent at the reopening, conveyed his message through the Federal Controller of Works. He said the successful completion of the first phase of the rehabilitation works, which was started and completed by the Bola Tinubu administration, is a clear indication that the president is working. He revealed that work has already begun on the underwater damage to the bridge, which is the second phase of the rehabilitation works.
We're giving Third Mainland Bridge a new lease of life, so we're all happy and delighted. I don't know about you. I'm super elated. I'm super elated. I'm happy that it's happening within our own lifetime. Most of the times our roads are abused, our infrastructures are abused. If it is not subject to abuse, on this road we're not talking of maintenance in the next 2 years. Minimum of 2 years, if we don't have any abuse on the road.
You will see speed limit signs as from today, and then the speed cameras would come on. The speed limit for Third Mainland Bridge is 80 kilometers per hour. So the speed cameras are there. So if you go beyond the speed limit, what it does is it takes a picture of your car and your plate number. And of course, we have our ways, we have a database, and we have our ways of sending your bills to you. So I'd advise our people to please comply with that speed limit.
So the third Mainland Bridge is open and ready for business. To other matters, operatives of the Lagos Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have commenced investigation into the alleged mutilation of Naira notes by Idris Okuneye, also known as Bobrisky. The agency invited the 31-year-old following a viral video where he was said to be flaunting words of new Naira notes at the premiere of a movie. TVC News senior reporter Theophilus Ilama reports.
Surprise might not be appropriate enough to describe the news that the self-acclaimed Mummy of Lagos was arrested by men of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Idris Okuneye was arraigned by the anti-graft agency for mutilating ones of new Naira notes at the premiere of a movie in Lagos. According to the provisions of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, it is punishable by fines, imprisonment, or both for any person caught spraying off, dancing, or matching on the Naira or any note issued by the bank during social occasions or otherwise. This act was enforced when a Nigerian actress, Oluwadarasimi Omosheyin, was convicted and sentenced to 6-month imprisonment for spraying and stepping on the new Naira notes at a social event in Lagos. According to an investigation by the Commission, Bobrisky had also committed the alleged offense at some other event centers and parties at different times. The social media has been agog with pictures and memes as the arrest took over the space. On the EFCC Instagram handle, the story has garnered the most comments as many asked lots of questions about cross-dresser's arrest. The commissioner said he will soon be charged to court when investigations are concluded. With this development, many are waiting with bated breath to see what becomes of this case.
Well, let's look at other matters now. On Wednesday, President Bola Tinubu signed the student loans bill into law. The bill passed by the National Assembly and transmitted for the President's assent is the Access to Higher Education Act and the 2024 Repeal and Reenactment Bill. This is after separate considerations by both the Senate and the House of Representatives Committee on Tertiary Education, Tertiary Institutions and the TED Fund. President Tinubu says with this new law, no Nigerian, regardless of their background, will be excluded from obtaining quality education. On Wednesday, I spoke with the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, and he told me more about the amendments to the bill which has now been signed, as well as plans for its implementation.
His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done is to ensure that this policy becomes far more inclusive than was originally envisaged within the National Assembly by ensuring that we remove key critical encumbrances that we felt would get in the way of the widest array and largest number of Nigerian students, their ability to access these resources and obviously these loan facilities. Effectively, what we've done with this amendment under the leadership of Mr. President is to remove two major encumbrances. One was the threshold, an income threshold that was placed on potential beneficiaries that essentially said that any Nigerian young person who was coming from a family where the family income is less than 500,000 naira annually, not monthly, 500,000 naira annually, which breaks down to less than 45,000 naira per month, that effectively anyone above that threshold would not be able to access the student loan within the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. So that was removed, ensuring that we open the space so that different categories of Nigerian students and their families can benefit ultimately from the National Student Loan Program. Additionally, Mr. President removed the guarantor requirement, which essentially would have created a ton of red tape for our young people to run through in order to access these facilities. They would have had to bring two different guarantors with very specific features, some of which required finding a justice of the peace, a judicial officer, and civil servants that were in the service above a certain number of years. What Mr. President has done in consideration, in being compassionate to their situation, essentially remove that requirement so that we can also reduce the time frame with which our students are able to access these facilities. So opening it up to new income categories, but also ensuring that we reduce the bottlenecks in terms of the requirements. But also, I think what's important is that the president also added teeth to the Nigerian Education Loan Fund as an institution by providing a legal framework and a set of legal powers that would essentially empower the NEL Fund to be able to obtain and essentially move certain assets, movable and immovable assets, as fit in order to carry out its functions with respect to how it can sue and be sued in its own name with its new legal status that would also allow it to initiate certain recovery proceedings against any beneficiary that has violated the terms of the loan.
A special advisor to Mr. President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, they're talking about some of the amendments that were made to the Student Loan Act. And of course, some of the points he mentioned there about creating room for more inclusion. So more students can now have access to the loan. It's not limited to students who are in universities alone, but those who are in polytechnics, whether it's owned by the federal government or by the state government, or even if it's a vocational facility, can actually have access to this loan. Just as I mentioned also, the salary threshold has also been moved. So it does not necessarily have to be that only families who earn less than or 500,000 naira annually are eligible to apply. So that ensures that more students can actually benefit from that loan. And importantly also, the beneficiaries do have a 2-year grace period to make payment. That after the mandatory 1-year National Youth Service Scheme, afterwards they're expected, to be able to get a job or to themselves become entrepreneurs, to become job owners and be able to pay back. And the baseline repayment for this loan is 10% of the monthly net pay of the beneficiary. That's in the case if that individual is an employee. But if that individual themselves is self-employed, so that would be 10% of monthly income or profit of the beneficiary. And of course, perhaps you just have enough money and you want to pay off, at once. There's that option of repayment. And then you're also expected to indicate what percentage you are able to afford and that you can carry on with. And for beneficiaries who are unable to get employment after graduating from school and, partaking in the mandatory service year, they are expected to report themselves regularly to the board in charge of the student loan to just be able to really explain that, okay, I've been unable to secure a job, neither am I self-employed, and so I'm unable to pay back the loan. And that, Mr. Ngelale mentioned, is to make for accountability. One aspect, one clause really of this act that a number of people have been asking questions about is the fact that application for the loan has to be through one's bank and signed off by the head of one's institution, whether it's the rector, provost, or vice chancellor. I know there are some cases where some students are not exactly familiar with their institution's authorities, but they are admitted that this is to make for accountability. All right, so that is on. We'll take a moment, and when we come back, we'll continue on the program. Please stay with us. Well, let's now talk about Ondo politics. As the 20th of April date for the All Progressives Congress governorship primary election approaches, aspirants are making last-minute rush. Preparations for the 2024 governorship election are underway in Ondo State's All Progressives Congress camp. 16 aspirants have received APC nomination and expression of interest forms for the highly anticipated election. Joining us on the program for more on this is Olalekan Oni, and he is convener, Renewed Hope Media. Thank you for joining us on the program. There's been a lot of talks about rotational governorship. From the north, let it go to the central, let it go to the south, all of that happening. But should the focus really be on rotation, or should it be on competency of the individuals involved?
Well, good evening. Let me say that the focus is actually not only on rotation, it is also about competence, character, and capacity. You see, we've had, just like you said, we've had 14 aspirants who have bought the form under the All Progressive Congress. And even some of the aspirants have even submitted their forms today. We have the incumbent governor who have submitted his form. We have the only female aspirant who has submitted her form. We also have Mr. Wale Akintewa, who has also submitted the nomination form at the party secretariat in Abuja. But you see, some of these things are unwritten in the constitution of the party. I'm talking about the zoning or the rotation formula. You see, you've had the northern side who is finishing because the current administration is under the mandate of late Rotimi Akeredolu, who is from Owo, the northern senatorial district of the state. And you had Olusegun Mimiko, who finished before Rotimi Akeredolu, who is from the central. So it's unwritten in the constitution of the party or in politics that if you've had the central, you've had the northern district, senatorial district of the state, then the next side should be the southern senatorial district of the state. And that's why you have majority of the aspirants who are adjusting for the Ondo 2024 are from the southern part of the state. So it's not in the constitution, but you see, when it comes to politics, you cannot take away all these facts and all of that. But, nevertheless, you have all the aspirants who are adjusting, who have got the form. All of them are eminently qualified, and they can, they can go ahead to jostle for the party ticket as we approach the primary election.
All right, and there seems to be so much concentration on the governing party, the APC. Why is this so? Or is it that you foresee a situation where people would actually defect from the APC should they lose the primary?
Well, first of all, let's realize that it is a contest, and in every contest, you have a lot of people. And don't also forget that at the end of the day, we'll have just one candidate in the party. We have only one candidate from the All Progressive Congress. We also have one candidate from the PDP, and so on and so forth. So in every contest, we see this kind of thing, and at the end of the day, we know that just one person will have the party ticket. So it's normal. We cannot find it. Things like this always happen when you have such a contest, especially when you have a lot of people, who wants the party ticket. So it happens.
And looking at the entire terrain, we know that the wife of the former governor of the state, Rotimi Akeredolu, is actually, call it openly, drumming support for another aspirant. Someone different from the incumbent governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who actually served as deputy to her late husband when he was a governor. Do you see her pushing, to support another aspirant against him as, the primaries draw closer?
Just can you come again with the question?
I'm talking about wife of the former governor who, appears to be openly drumming support, yes, for, certain candidates. Do you see her going ahead to actually push for a candidate who is different from the incumbent?
Well, while I'm not going to speak for Mrs. Betty Akeredolu because I don't have a brief from her, I also think that she has the right to support anyone who she wants to support. Because first of all, she's an individual, and I think she's also, maybe she's a stakeholder, I can really not speak for her. But I really don't see her supporting the incumbent government. Going back to what happened in the past, before the demise of her husband, some of the allegations against the incumbent governor about loyalty and all of that. And we've also seen her, disparaging some of the people supporting the incumbent governor, saying things against them and all of that. So I really don't see her, supporting the incumbent governor. But nevertheless, I also still think that at the end of the day, she'll come out openly to support anyone. I'm not holding back for her. This is just my personal opinion. But I think to a very large extent, I can say that I don't see her supporting the incumbent governor because of some of the things that has happened in the past and in recent times, before the demise of her husband and even after the demise of her husband.
But the APC needs to put forward a united front, just as any other party that will be participating in this election. How united do you think the party is at the moment as they head to the primary?
Come again. Sorry, I can't hear that.
I'm talking about the APC now. How united do you think the fold of the party is as they head to the primary? Because the party needs to put up a united front, and regardless of who emerges as a flag bearer of the party, every other person ought to align, with that individual.
Yes. Well, let's not deceive ourselves, and let's be frank with all of this. Presently, and this happens anytime you are approaching the primary, because it is a contest, and you have many aspirants under the APC, under the party, you will definitely have some polarization here and there, different people supporting different aspirants and all of that. Imagine a party where you have 14, I think 12 or 14 aspirants who have purchased the nomination form. What it means is that definitely party members will be divided on who to support. What it means presently now is that we have party members dividing themselves into 14 places, supporting different aspirants. So definitely